What Lord Krishna might say about Christ and Christmas. A Vedantic essay with affection, insight, and a gentle smile. If Lord Krishna were to observe Christmas from his eternal vantage point, he would not reach first for theology or doctrine. He would reach for amusement, followed closely by compassion. He would watch the twinkling lights, the carefully wrapped gifts, the sudden global urge to be kinder, and he might remark with a knowing smile, "Ah yes, humanity remembers love again. Good. Let us hope it lasts beyond New Year's." From the standpoint of the Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta, Christ would not appear to Krishna as a rival, nor Christmas as a foreign ritual. Krishna does not think in terms of competing religions. He thinks in terms of consciousness. And Christ, by any Vedantic measure, was operating at a very high one. Christ, a bhakta who took the assignment seriously. Krishna might look at Christ and say, approvingly, yes. He understood the assignment. Christ lived bhakti in its rawest, most demanding form, unconditional love. Not selective love. Not polite love. Love for the poor, the sick, the outcast, the traitor, and even the executioner. In the Gita, Krishna repeatedly says that the highest devotee is one who is free from hatred, fear, and possessiveness. Christ did not merely preach this. He demonstrated it, repeatedly, even when it was deeply inconvenient. Krishna, who once persuaded a reluctant Arjuna to stand up and act, might gently observe, Arjuna feared harming others. Christ accepted being harmed himself. Different methods, same courage. From a Vedantic lens, both figures teach transcendence of ego, Krishna through detached action, Christ through radical love. One says, do your duty without attachment to results. The other says, love without expecting anything back. If that is not the same syllabus expressed in different handwriting, it is difficult to imagine what is. Christmas and the curious habit of God arriving as a child. Krishna would find Christmas deeply familiar. Not because of the trees or the cakes, but because of the central character, a child. Apparently, the divine has a recurring habit of arriving in fragile forms. Christ came as a baby in a stable. Krishna arrived as a baby in a prison. Neither announced themselves with press releases or divine trumpets. Instead, both relied on confused parents, improbable circumstances, and an unreasonable amount of human faith. Krishna might chuckle, we keep coming quietly. Humans keep expecting fireworks. Vedanta teaches that truth is subtle, not loud. Christmas, at its best, reflects this principle. It celebrates softness in a hard world, humility in an ambitious one, and innocence in a deeply cynical age. The child represents consciousness before it becomes cluttered, before ego learns to shout over wisdom. Fear, love, and humanity's favorite hobby. Misunderstanding both. If Krishna had a critique of how Christmas is sometimes celebrated, it would not be about decorations or commerce. He understands human enthusiasm and human excess. His concern would be subtler. Christ repeatedly said, do not be afraid. Krishna repeatedly dismantles fear by explaining the eternal nature of the soul. And yet, fear remains humanity's most renewable resource. Krishna might remark wryly, I explained death is an illusion. Christ explained love defeats death. Humans responded by being afraid of everything anyway. Vedanta insists that fear arises from mistaken identity, from thinking we are only bodies, roles, labels, or affiliations. Christ's insistence on eternal life aligns remarkably well with this idea. Different metaphors, same reassurance. You are more than you think you are. One truth, many traditions, endless arguments. Krishna would likely observe, with gentle amusement, how humans argue about whose path is superior, especially during festivals meant to promote peace. He might sigh lightly and say, you argue about my name. You argue about his name. Neither of us asked for lawyers. In the Gita, Krishna explicitly states that all sincere paths lead to him. Christ, too, spoke not of tribal ownership of God, but of an ever-present Father accessible through love. Neither encouraged sectarian pride. Both encouraged inner transformation. From Krishna's perspective, Christmas would not be about affirming religious boundaries, but about measuring outcomes. Are people kinder, more forgiving, slightly less cruel? If yes, then the festival is working. If not, then even the most accurate theology has missed the point. The festival behind the festival. Krishna would eventually bring the conversation inward, as he always does. Lights dim. Songs end. Trees are taken down. What remains? He would say, if Christ is born only on calendars, then he is still waiting. The real Christmas, from a Vedantic view, is the birth of compassion in the heart, the quiet loosening of ego, the willingness to love without keeping score. That is a festival Krishna recognizes immediately, because it looks very much like bhakti. Krishna might conclude, smiling gently at humanity's endless complexity, celebrate him. Celebrate me. Or celebrate neither. Just become a little more loving today. And perhaps, watching humanity struggle, stumble, and still try again every December, he would add with affection, you are slow learners, but sincere ones. That counts.